Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, May 20, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can still see that we have that ridge of high pressure that's sending a lot of easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can also see that we still have that tropical wave that's right there across portion of the main development region attached to the intertropical convergence zone. And we can also see that we have a trough right there across portions of the Turks and Caicos as well as sections of Hispaniola. If we actually take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see those low-level patches of clouds moving from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean, all courtesy of that easterly trade wind brought about by that high-pressure ridge. We can also see the clouds associated with that tropical wave that's attached to the intertropical convergence zone that stretches all the way into sections of South America. And we can also see the clouds associated with that trough affecting portions of the Turks and Caicos, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic and Haiti, with some amount of overcast skies, showers and thunderstorms at this time. We'll be focusing on the weather across the rest of the Caribbean later on. Let's focus our attention on what happened across Jamaica for today. It was stated in our previous video on our YouTube page that we would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of eastern, central and western Jamaica, and then we would receive majority of that rainfall across sections of southern Jamaica. You know, southern Jamaica includes the parishes of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? A post was made on our Twitter page at 2:11 p.m. highlighting some clouds, bringing overcast skies and showers to sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, as well as sections of St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, as well as St. Thomas. We even had our commenters on our Twitter page confirming that rainfall. Adrian stating rain in Mandeville, then Simone stating rain in northern Clarendon. Even on our Instagram page, we had our commenters confirming the rainfall. Kemar stating rain just start fall at Central Village. Lasagna stating rain in Mandeville. And then another post was made at 3:15 p.m. highlighting the infrared satellite images showing the high cold cloud tops with all of those colors, greens, blues, yellows and reds. Not to mention the sparkling white dots that represent the lightning flashes and thunderstorms. So we indeed had some amount of afternoon thunderstorms across these very same spots across southern Jamaica. And we had Jacqueline McCarthy stating still waiting in southern St. Spanish Town, may hot like fire. Then later on she confirmed that she just had a small amount but grateful. Even on our Instagram page we had our commenters confirming the rainfall. Reci stating finally the rain is here. Another person stating the rain was good in Portmore. And if we actually take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see where a majority of those clouds were coming in from the north, and then they piled up across sections of southern Jamaica where they became cumulonimbus or thunderclouds, and then we had the wind shear blowing all of those off towards the south and the east. And we can also see that we still have some amount of cloud cover right there across sections of southern St. Catherine, southern portions of St. Thomas as well, bringing some amount of isolated showers to those spots. And we even have the Doppler radar images confirming the rainfall, some greens and some slight yellows right there off the coast of southern Jamaica. So sections of the waters to the south of St. Elizabeth, south of St. Catherine, south of St. Thomas getting some amount of rainfall right there. And even on the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology's accumulated precipitation page for the past 24 hours across Jamaica confirms the rainfall across the various spots across southern Jamaica where it indeed rained. Taking a look at the temperatures for tonight, we can see that we have 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and as usual as the night progresses these temperatures should be getting lower. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, Jamaica is embedded in some slight yellows. They represent at least 1 degree Celsius above average. and the average temperatures for the month of May is about 89 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the equivalent of 32 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 33 degrees Celsius at most for tomorrow. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can still see that Jamaica is still embedded in a lot of blues that represent lots of moist air. We see some slight dry air indicated by all the yellows to the south of Jamaica across majority of the Caribbean Sea, but the driest air can be seen right there off the coast of northwestern Africa, associated with all of those reds and whites within those reds. However, as it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, Jamaica is in the clear. Majority of the dust is right there across the main development region, as well as sections of Africa as indicated by those shades of browns. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can still see that Jamaica is surrounded by a lot of blue shadings that represent 1.5 meter wave heights or less, and that's due to the fact that we'll still be receiving some weak winds across the island. The winds don't even seem like they're coming from a specific direction. We should be getting variable winds across the island for tomorrow, so with the lack of strong trade winds, it will feel a bit hotter than normal. We can see a lot of blues across majority of the island, so there's definitely a possibility for some amount of afternoon convection, just like what we had for today. And with the upper level support still coming in from the west northwest across the island on both the Euro and the GFS for 1 p.m. on Sunday, west southwesterly wind shear will cause majority of the cloud cover and rainfall to be across sections of southern Jamaica. So for majority of last week, we've been getting where the wind shear is coming in from the southwest, favoring majority of the north coast. Now we're having the opposite. It's time for the south coast to get in on that rainfall, and that is what we had today, and that is what we're going to be having again for tomorrow. So something very similar to what we had today with all of those clouds, showers and thunderstorms on the south coast. That is exactly what we're going to be getting in on for tomorrow. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow by both the Euro and the GFS, we can see that by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time, we see a lot of blues across eastern, central and western Jamaica. But we know that there's going to be a bias across southern parishes in Jamaica. We see that as clear as day on the GFS model with the darkest shades of blues right there across sections of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon. And we see that on the Euro model as well, with the darkest shades of blues right there across sections of St. Elizabeth as well. So we do have consensus, and even on the accumulated precipitation forecast, we also have the consensus with the most colors that are indicative of 0.46 of an inch of rainfall on GFS across southern Jamaica. We see consensus with the rainfall on southern Jamaica as well on the Euro, but the more rainfall is what the Euro is showing, up to 0.67 of an inch. Either way, rainfall is definitely in the forecast for Sunday afternoon across southern Jamaica, so try your very best to get that laundry done early so that you're not that drastically affected. And we're indeed grateful that we're going to be getting some more rainfall across the island for tomorrow, considering that we're in our secondary rainy season, May, where we usually receive up to 213 millimeters of rainfall during this month. And although we've been lacking so far across majority of the southern parishes, we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put a dent in this drought. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see a lot of thunderstorms across portions of Panama, Costa Rica, sections of Colombia right there associated with the intertropical convergence zone, considering that their hurricane season in the eastern Pacific has started. There's a chance that they're going to be getting in on more low level or low pressure building across those spots, bringing more rainfall, showers and thunderstorms that could possibly lead to some tropical cyclone development as well. And there's something hinting on that on the Euro model or the GFS model for next week, so we'll see exactly what unfolds with that. Either way, right now we can see some amount of cloud cover across sections of Venezuela, French Guiana, Suriname, as well as Guyana. We can also see some rainfall coming into sections of Barbados, sections of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of maybe Tobago and Grenada getting in on some rainfall. Not to mention all the rainfall that's currently happening across portions of the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Haiti and Dominican Republic getting in on a lot of showers and thunderstorms right now, possibly triggering some amount of flash flooding. Portions of southern Cuba getting in on some rainfall, as well as portions of the Turks and Caicos as well. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images, We can see some amount of rainfall right there across the northeastern Caribbean associated with that trough. Look at Dominican Republic getting in on a lot of rain right there. Sections of Puerto Rico still getting in on some rainfall, coming in from the southwest, coming in from the southeast and going to the northwest. The British Virgin Islands getting in on some rainfall. St. Martin, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Barth, St. John's, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, and maybe even portions of Martinique getting in on some rainfall as well. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, we can see where we have some amount of rainfall moving into sections of southern and eastern Barbados at this time. And we can also see a lot of passing showers to the south of Barbados coming in from the east as well as passing to the west. So sections of, let's say, St. Lucia, sections of St. Vincent and Grenadines getting in on some amount of rainfall. Not to mention Grenada getting in on some rainfall as well. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see where we have that rainfall across Puerto Rico, sections of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, not to mention sections of Mexico, maybe even sections of Guatemala getting in on some rainfall as well. Taking a look at the temperatures for tomorrow, we can see lots of below average temperatures right there across the northeastern Caribbean, portions of Mexico, Texas, and the southern United States. However, we see some average to slightly above average temperatures across anywhere from Florida southward. So the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, the ABC Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala getting in on some of that as well. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, you can see that majority of the Caribbean is in the clear, while majority of the dust associated with the Sahara Desert is across portions of the main development region, and we hope it stays that way. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see the highest waves across majority of the Atlantic Basin is right there to the northeast of the Caribbean. So we see those purples that represent 2-meter wave heights or more, and that's due to the fact that the strongest winds will be across those spots. We can even see the circular motion associated with that broad area of low pressure, that trough that brings some amount of rainfall to the southwestern Atlantic, the Turks and Caicos. And we can also see some yellows right there to the right of that broad area of low pressure that indicates some 25 knot wind, and that's where we're going to be having the strongest or the highest wave heights. So it makes sense that right there is where we're seeing that happening. Taking a look at the rain forecast, look at all those purples right there to the north of Hispaniola that indicate even up to 3 or more inches of rainfall. So there's a chance that if anybody is out in the waters at that time, they're going to be experiencing some rough weather. Lots of flooding still being forecasted, even up to 2 inches of rainfall. Flooding rainfall from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday across portions of Dominican Republic, Haiti, portions of Puerto Rico, sections of the US and British Virgin Islands, eastern Cuba, the Turks and Caicos, still being forecasted to receive some rainfall, and we see consensus on both the Euro and the GFS models. Another one we have consensus like this, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. Not to mention all the purples that we're seeing across sections of Panama, Colombia, western Venezuela, associated with the cloud cover that we see right now, the low pressure areas. Lots of rainfall in the forecast for sections of South America, lots of reds, not to mention sections of Barbados, areas to the west of there, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago getting in on some rainfall, not to mention eastern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname and French Guyana as well, Costa Rica getting in on some rainfall as well. If we even take a look, eastern Nicaragua as well as northern Honduras to be getting in on some rainfall as well. And we also see consensus on the western portion of the basin. That map is showing lots of rainfall across portions of Mexico, not to mention sections of Guatemala, as well as portions of the Yucatan Peninsula, as well as southern Belize. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.